Welcome to a special bonus video. Today we're talking all about set pieces, specifically corners. So I've entitled this video Corner Tutorial. It's not really that, it's more showing how I've scored so many goals from corners and set pieces this season. The 2019-20 National League campaign has come to an end, as we have seen in the AFC Fylde Still We Rise series. And as part of that, we scored 27 goals from corners. Considering that the season only lasts 46 games, that's more than one every 2 games. We scored 117 goals in total, 60 of which came from set pieces. So as you can see, not only have we got our corners, but we've got the direct free kicks, joint top with Solihull Moors there. 14 goals coming from indirect free kicks. And in terms of penalties, we were top there as well. Scored 14 of the 18 that we were awarded. How? It's a very good question. But we're going to have a look and see if we can find out just why that was the case. 27 goals from corners. Look at the other leagues. In National League South, top of the shop, Dartford, 5 goals from corners. In the National League North, Southport, Alfreton, Darlington and Hereford, all with just 3. Going into the actual Football League, we've got Scunthorpe, they scored just 9, and so did Rochdale in League One. A bit higher up, Birmingham, Brentford, Fulham and Leeds, all scoring 4. And then in the Premier League, Manchester City leading the way with 6, Sheffield United second with 5. We scored 27. I don't want this to be just a video full of boasting and bragging, but we're doing something right, very much so. So, my question is, what? Well, at the start of the season, I did put some time aside. I spent a morning going through our set piece routines and putting together something that, as it turns out, was quite effective. So I'm going to show you that today. I'm going to put it on the screen, let you have a look. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put it on Steam or offer it for download. I'm not sure about all that. However, it will be on the screen. Chance for you to pause, have a look at what's there and replicate it in your game if that's what you want to do. All this, can't steal tactics from other people, can't use what somebody else has created. I'm not a big fan of that, especially these days when you are watching football, especially with set pieces. You can see how teams set up. You can see who positions themselves where, who is at the POMO, the position of maximum opportunity, blocking that shot, blocking that delivery from the 6-yard box. We've seen it in recent times, actually. I think Glenn Hoddle coined the term, the love train, at the corners for England, that I'm sure I saw from Crawley before then, perhaps. It was certainly a team lower down the leagues in the FA Cup. As soon as somebody sees that, they can modify it and they can introduce it into their own game. So, in the same way, in Football Manager, if you become aware of a tactic through watching other people, through doing your research, then you are of course welcome to use it. The interesting thing is, it doesn't always work out, because teams have different players, different strengths. I mean, if you're West Brom or Stoke in days gone by, under Tony Pulis, then chances are you'll have done quite well from set pieces anyway, because they had the players to capitalise on those opportunities. Speaking of players, we've had 3 defenders that have scored a high number of goals for us. From this list, you'll notice that Jamie Proctor is dearly departed. He was on loan from Rotherham and has now returned to his parent club, along with his 20-odd goals. So we've got Jordan Williams, our left winger, who was on 21, and then Alex Whitmore, central defender with 12 goals to his name. Now, he is quite an interesting character here because he seems to have stats which suggest he's going to be good in the opposition box. So his heading is a 13, determination 20, bravery up there at 14, anticipation not great at 20, but his jumping is 13 as well. Combine that with the fact that he's a powerful boy and he's 6'1", he's always going to be a threat. Whitmore isn't alone in that. Often this time this season we've partnered him with Kyle Jameson, a young lad who arrived at Fylde at the start of the season from West Brom. Now, again, his stats sort of lend themselves to attacking in the opposition box, even though they're not at the level of Whitmore. In fact, he scored 11 goals this season. So, his heading, 10. Bravery, 10. His decisions, not brilliant, but determination, we're getting back up there with 11. Jumping reach, 13. And another 6'1", tall boy. Now, in real life, he actually plays as left back for Fylde, but he has all the attributes of a centre back. For me, he doesn't get forward enough for a left back. For me personally, I think he's a bit of a safe option. However, in real life, he does get picked there. And then finally we've got Neil Byrne, so our third centre-back really, club captain Neil Byrne. He's contributed 6 goals, as you can see, lots of substitute appearances. His heading, 12. Bravery, 13. Decisions, 9. Jumping reach is only 9, but he's 6'2" and 74 kilograms. So he's certainly a unit and something to be concerned about for the opposition. So those 3 have been our chosen defenders, our centre-backs for the season, and they're the ones that have scored the goals from the set pieces, especially corners. Now let's have a look at the setup, because, and I should say the other thing, none of those players I have bought in. At the start of the season, Whitmore, Byrne and Jameson are all part of the AFC Fylde squad. I haven't signed anybody specially for this tactic, including, I should say, Jamie Proctor, the striker. He was already on loan. I haven't messed about with bringing specific people in. We've heard this week, or certainly last week, it was Frank Lampard talking about Chelsea at set pieces and how they didn't have very many tall players. So we've there got 3 players that were over 6 foot tall immediately that are going to be a threat. In terms of the set piece takers, there's a bit of a theme developing here and you'll see it straight away. So Dan Bradley, we put him on the left side because he's right-footed. In-swingers are the order of the day. Mark Yates is right-footed. Nick Horton, right-footed. Luke Burke, you're starting to see a pattern. Over on the right, Tom Walker, left-footed. Jordan Williams, left-footed. Andy Taylor, left-footed. And then we've got Dan Bradley serving as the 4th taker for the corners on the right. That tells you straight away how we're setting up here. We're looking for the in-swinger. And if we go to our corner routines, let's go into attack. So this is from the right side. And I always struggle with this because when we're watching a game, it's often the other way around. If we're sort of positioning our camera behind the goal. As you'll see straight away, here we have Jordan Williams. Tom Walker not in the side. I think he missed out in the FA Trophy final, starting 11 due to injury. So we've got Jordan Williams down there. He's left-footed, taking it from the right, and he has been instructed to send it into the near post. Who's waiting at the near post? Alex Whitmore. As you can see, we're seeing a bit of yellow here in the areas that we just talked about as far as the player attributes are concerned. So his role is to attack the near post. There with him, working in partnership, is Dan Bradley, lurking at the near post, getting in the goalkeeper's eye line, drawing a defender with him. Backing up Whitmore in the centre is Kyle Jameson. His role is to mark the keeper. Now, this doesn't tend to mean he stands on the keeper's toe, I found in Football Manager. It means that he's a little bit withdrawn, but he's in the goalkeeper's eye line. It's not like the CM0102 days when you could select your striker to mark the goalkeeper and he drags the defender right back with him. It's not quite that sort of level of messing about. Our striker, who obviously we don't have one at the minute due to Jamie Proctor's departure, he's at the back post. The idea is to sweep up anything that makes it through. He is attacking the far post. We've then got our two midfielders, Nick Horton and Matty Kozolo, just providing a bit of backup. They tend to draw defenders away. They don't tend to get involved actually in the flight of the ball. They tend to stand a little bit more around this area, around the centre spot in practice, usually surrounded by a couple of defenders. We've got the fake short option there with Ryan Crowsdale. He will offer the short option, never been taken. And he will draw a defender out with him, which then creates a bit of space, usually in this region, just where Whitmore is patrolling. In terms of defence, we leave our goalkeeper back. I've never changed that. Our two fullbacks are designed to protect from the counter-attack. We've got Andy Taylor and Luke Burke normally. Now, Burke's quite quick and can respond to a bit of a pacey winger. Taylor's not so quick but has good positioning. He's a very experienced player for many seasons at left back there, so he's somebody that we can certainly rely on. Now, as I said, from the right, we're looking at the near post. However, from the left, we're going 6-yard box. So it's currently Dan Bradley there to float that one in. In this instance, because we've sort of changed it up a little bit, Whitmore is now in the centre. And it's his role to mark the keeper. Again, not specifically marking him. Back post is Carl Jameson. Because the ball is going to flow over the near post, we've positioned him at the back stick in order to get onto anything that Whitmore is unable to, and if the ball falls through to Jameson's feet. Proctor then is the near post man. We've got 3 men backing up in the go forward instruction, all creating a bit of havoc and a bit of worry for the defence. Again, a short option, this time Matty Kozolo. He will draw a defender out there. And we've got our 2 fullbacks back in defence with our goalkeeper. So those are the strategies. If you want to note those down, pause the video. As you can see, you've got all the roles there. Once you sort of select the players, you can kind of see the player instructions here. So, as you can see, attack far post is FP, near post NP. Fairly sure if you're watching this, you understand what I'm talking about. But that's the lineup for the right, for the left. Sorry, on the right we've got another 3, and we've moved one of the go forwards into a lurk at near post. This kind of works really well, and in fact, I can show you a couple of examples. Let's go to Shirley. So against Shirley, Kyle Jameson actually got a goal. So we'll see if we can just have a look at his goal. Now I've tried to slow this down and we've changed the camera to sideline. In fact, I'll slow it slightly down a little bit more. So highlighted Kyle Jameson, he's at the back post here. So this corner is coming in from the left. The idea is we've got the man here looking at the near post, marking the goalkeeper. That's Neil Byrne. We've got these lads in the lineup here. You see where I said that they hover more around the penalty spot than anything. The short option has drawn a defender out, and then we're going to have Jameson here attack the ball from Horton's delivery. There you go. See how he's run straight towards the ball. Defender unable to follow. Second example comes from Barrow. Now this is from the other side, and it's a goal for Alex Whitmore. Where are we? Barrow. Here we are. Pitch, I think it was the first goal. Yes, it was. Right, so Whitmore's here now. He's at the near post. As you can see, we've got our man, I think it's Muldoon, yes it is this time, who's lurking at the near post. We're then going to have Proctor, it's Horton in this case, back stick, and again we've got our three boys hovering around the penalty spot. Short option here, offered by Crowsdale. This defender, Platt, is going to come out there. As you can see, does leave a bit of a space there, especially if Whitmore is getting onto the ball first. So we'll play that along. Jordan Williams with the delivery. Near post, Whitmore beats his man in the air. Simple finish. In fact, I'm just going to show you from the other angle, because it does say a little bit about how the goalkeeper gets a little bit blocked off. If we go behind the goal, as you can see, so Muldoon down here, he is lurking at the near post. And here's the goalkeeper, Dixon. He's going to be unable to get across because of the marker and our attacker. There you go. Doesn't even make a big movement over to cover that near post area. As a result, Whitmore is in for the goal. That has happened countless times. If you've spent any time watching any of the series, you'll know full well what has happened there. It seems that every time we play a game, we are ultra dangerous from set pieces. So I'll put them back on the screen for a moment for you. If you need to, pause, have a look, see what we've got here. And if you can replicate it in your game, have a go. Why not? What have you got to lose? I mean, we've scored 27 goals. 60 goals from set pieces alone this season. It's something that we did put time into right at the start of the campaign to get these right, because I did have a feeling that set pieces would have a massive impact on promotion. And so it's proved. These are the roles from the left side as well. So it's just your opportunity to pause anything that you need and have a look around. In terms of defending set pieces, I don't actually do anything special. This is from the left. We've got a man closing down, and then it's basically just every role going. We keep our two wingers up the pitch to at least give the opposition something to think about, and then it's generally man on the near post, man on the far post, defend the 6-yard box, and a couple of people man marking. That's it. Nothing special. In terms of from the right, it's going to be exactly the same, just the other way around. As you can see, same again. Wingers are up the pitch, near post, far post, 6-yard box, and marking the big dangers. That's it. There's nothing overly special, nothing overly complicated about any of these routines. It really is using the tools that we've got at our disposal. I suppose that's the big message. Put together set piece routines to play to the strengths of your squad. If you've got small players like Chelsea, the short option and then driving it low into the box, great idea. You know, if you've got sort of technically adept players, this is why you use low crosses or whip crosses. If you've got a big target man, you float it. We all know that. You really do shape your tactics to your team. And it's funny because our tactics have been pretty much what Fylde do in real life. There's been nothing really out of the ordinary, aside from perhaps different roles in the middle. But that's really just down to sort of managerial preference, you know. So I hope that was useful for everybody. That was our corner tutorial, giving you a bit of an insight into our set pieces and how they've worked this season. That's why we've done so well. And if you've watched any of the games that we've played, every time we get a corner, I am quite optimistic we're going to score. And it's because of these sort of the time that we put in, these tactics that we've produced, and they've really worked well with the players that we've got. There's no telling, and there's no reason why Kyle Jameson has scored 11 goals. His stats aren't brilliant, they're not world beating, but he's in the right place at the right time, in the right role, in order to get those corners converted into goals. So thank you for joining me. I hope that was useful. I hope you can take something away from it. Have a go. Try out my set piece routine with your team and see what happens. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You don't score any corner goals. You probably weren't doing anyway. But we've been banging them in all season, and the big ambition for us now is to take that forward into the Football League, because hopefully teams aren't quite used to playing sides that dominate at set pieces. This week we will get back on track with the AFC Fylde Still We Rise series. We're going to start looking at the squad for next season. Already that's a consideration, because there are contracts that are coming to an end. There are contracts that we want to renew and have made offers to certain players for, and there are other ones that are going to drop down to the development centre. Probably people like Kurt Willoughby, who hasn't really done anything for us this season. He's actually been injured for a lot of the season. So I think a season with our development boys might be of a benefit to him. We've also obviously got people like Mark Yates who are retiring. Louis Montrose is definitely going to leave, as are of course the two lone boys here. So as I said, join us again. It will be episode 26. That will be Monday. So I'm not sure what day this video will be released. It'll either be Saturday or Sunday. You'll be able to tell me that. And then we kick off again on Monday as we turn our attention to Sky Bet League 2 and season 2020 to 2021.